Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Regressive Soapbox. Alright, stand up, Wolfe. I'm gonna let Richard Wolfe do the talking on this. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna make sure that I'm up, make sure that I'm live, and make sure that my sound is on. I'm seeing the mic volume move up and down. Let me make sure that this is a very important announcement. This is the most important thing that's ever been uttered by any human being to another human being or to another group of human beings. I'm gonna let Richard Wolfe do the talking. All right, Richard, explain what's going on. And this.
Two announcements we almost always make. These evenings are produced by three organizations. The Left Forum, that produces those conferences in the spring of every year, and will be hosting the next Left Forum, June 1 to June 3rd of 2018. And I'm pleased to let you know, before the public knows, that one of the keynote speakers will be Jane O'Meara Sanders, who is the wife of Bernie Sanders, for those of you who don't know. And one of his closest advisors, the head of the Sanders Foundation, and the person who will be advising him when he runs for president again in 2020. I just found that out too, so here's some hot news for you.
I'm restraining my joy. I don't want to pull a Joy Behar. I don't want to pull a Joy Behar. Like, yes! Yeah. Here's the thing. I assumed that Sanders was running. Sanders was giving speeches, like international foreign policy speeches and all. I assumed that Bernie Sanders was running. He was making moves to run. And there was an article in the Hill saying that Sanders thought it was his turn. He built up that particular political body, and he thought that for the most part he should be able to take over and run. He believed that he proved himself and he should be able to get his chance to run. And I agree with him. I agree with him. Hands down, I agree with him. I don't care if they roll Sanders out in a wheelchair, he would get my vote. That's where I'm at. So, fucking A for Bernie Sanders. Thank you, Richard Wolfe, for breaking that information, breaking that news. This is a great day. This is a great day. I don't want to do that. I don't want to say this is a great day. I think it's fucking awesome. If Sanders wins, if Sanders gets through the primaries, if he exceeds through the primaries, and if Sanders wins, what it means to be a Democrat fundamentally changes. Fundamentally changes. At least that's my thought. This could be this kind of utopian idea of the world in a sense, maybe. And yes, I might be slightly biased on this. Slightly. But it doesn't necessarily mean I'm wrong. It doesn't mean I'm wrong. There is no way that the Democratic Party can withstand somebody who actually is a Democrat standing right there beside him, shaming them by the very presence. Bernie Sanders just standing there, just drinking coffee, shames them. Shames them. It's like, oh my God, he's the real thing, and we have to recoil. Oh, he's too glimmering and glaring. It's too much. It's too much. So, it's not going to be long. This video is just basically Bernie fucking Sanders is running in 2020, and Richard Wolfe just broke the news. Yes, this is a great day. This is a great day. I know Sane Progressive is going to have a go at me on this. Just going to be like, all of the Bernie Sanders people are chirping and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Yeah. I disagree with her on this one. I think Sanders is fucking awesome. And I think he woke up a generation of sleeping people. And in 2020 when he runs, I know all these people were angry and everything else, but I think those people would fall in line. And I could be wrong on this. I could be wrong on this. But if Bernie Sanders gets through the primary, I would bet Debbie will vote for Bernie Sanders. I would bet Debbie will vote for Bernie Sanders. Just saying. Just saying. All right, guys, I'm going to end it here. Yeah, this is fucking awesome. I am elated by this. I got to be honest. No, I'm not pulling the joy, screaming at the top of my lungs thing. No. But inside, there's a part of me that is doing just that very thing. I should show that video of Joy Behar screaming at the top of her lungs, this gut level scream. Oh my God! I'm not necessarily there yet. I don't have that infinite joy. But ultimately, I am happy about this. That it's finally out there. Everybody knew he was going to be doing it. And so, yeah, make it plain. Make it plain. All right. I'm going to end it here. Uh-oh. The truth from my perspective, I'm going to have to agree with Debbie. Yeah, all right. That's fair. He didn't stand up to Clinton and challenge anything. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. That's true. That's fair. That's fair. Look, if Debbie wanted to come on, if Debbie is the champion of the anti-Sanders, Debbie can come on and have her piece. Debbie will lose that debate. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. Slightly joking. It's not that you lose the debate. It's we just disagree on this one. That's all. But it's a good-hearted disagreement. It's not this you know, that person sucks and that person is horrible and stuff like that. Just disagree. Just disagree. She's not going to come on my show to do that. But she has like 35,000 more subscribers than I do. So that's not going to happen. And I understand where perspective comes from on this. So don't get me wrong. And I understand a lot of people's perspective on this. I look at this differently. I look at this from the standpoint of the political pressures that are always applied to a person if they're in that particular sphere. And you may say you're giving them a pass. That may be true. Just as this kind of flat fact thing of, yes, this may be true. But I do think that stuff has context. And I look at, how do I move the ball forward? And I know I'm susceptible to the argument of the Clintonites, but I don't think that stuff is as black and white as I think she makes it out to be. It's sad because he has great ideas. Yes, he has great ideas, so why won't you support him when he's trying to implement those great ideas? I agree with you that he didn't push through in the way that people wanted him to push through. But come on. Come on, come on, come on. Give the guy credit for what the guy's done. And this thing of discarding people when they don't necessarily live up to your expectations, like each and every one of your expectations, I don't agree with that one. I want to see how the other Democrats will react. They're going to shit themselves. Well, the thing is, he's going to be running as a Democrat. The funny part is, somebody says Democratic Party is not Bernie Sanders' Uber. They're trying to say the Uber to the White House because Bernie Sanders considers himself as an independent. I don't care what Bernie Sanders considers himself as. He's out there sheepdogging for the Democratic Party as the Democratic Party's outreach coordinator. Now, my thing was, he's sheepdogging for a reason. That Bernie Sanders is trying to get as many people into the party as he possibly can with this idea of him being the face at that point. So when he runs in that primary, those people know exactly who Bernie Sanders is, and those people will be in the party and be able to vote for Bernie Sanders. Their allegiance at that point is not to the party itself. Their allegiance is to Bernie Sanders. The problem with this strategy is that it assumes that Bernie Sanders is going to be able to exceed the primaries in the first place. That those people aren't just going to be there as this kind of this thing for Democrats to harvest. Even if they don't get all those people who join the party for Sanders, they're going to get a lot of those people who join the party for Bernie Sanders. So yeah, there's a risk. But if Sanders runs in 2020, Sanders is going to be president of the United States. And you have a fundamentally different, you have a chance of something different. That's all I'm saying. Sanders is radically different than what was there before. Truth from my perspective, because if he can't stand up for her, stand up to her, how is he going to stand up to the world leaders? It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Let me ask you this. If Adolf Hitler, and this is an extreme example, but I want to make a point, so I'm being provocative. If Adolf Hitler said, truth from your perspective, I don't like the shirt that you're wearing, and I think you're a bit of an asshole, does that hurt your feelings? I mean, the quantity that you're dealing with is, for the most part, Adolf Hitler. You know this guy is a horrible fucking person. It doesn't matter to you that a horrible fucking person said your shirt was ugly or that you were an asshole. Not so much. Not so much. What if it's somebody that you did care about, though? Like, so it's somebody that had some kind of financial influence, some kind of perceptual influence, or some kind of political influence. you interact with people based upon your pack, based upon the people who you yourself associate with. There's no situation where you're going to be everything to everybody, meaning you have a spectrum of people who you're going to get. Things outside your spectrum is not necessarily going to make sense to those people outside your spectrum. They're going to think you're fucking nuts. The people inside your spectrum, however, would understand you. And mind you, this is not a hard and fast thing in regards to spectrum. Some people float between spectrums. But I'm just saying, from this particular standpoint, Bernie Sanders has people in his base, or not in his base, but in his wheelhouse, things or perspectives that he has to deal with, that he can't necessarily just say fuck off. He's running as a Democrat. And as he's running as a Democrat, of course he's going to make certain agreements saying that he's not going to do anything to adversely affect the other candidate, because he's running as a Democrat. Not just that, he's running as a Democrat who didn't believe he had any chance. It's like, come on, give the guy a break. Like, some of the stuff is perceptual stuff that anybody would be caught into, or most people would be caught into. You're running in an election. You think you have no chance at all to win that election. You're only in it because you want to push the other candidate to the left. You catch fire and you're like, holy shit, people like what I'm selling. And then something changes. It's no longer just pushing her to the left. It's, I'm going to try to win. But you've already lost several states in the South. Many of these people still don't know who you are, but you are catching fire. Meaning when they're doing polls, of nationwide polls, you're trouncing all the Republicans. And you're even beating Hillary Clinton at that point. The point I'm getting at is he didn't think he could win. And because he didn't think he could win, his reality conformed to the idea that he had no chance of winning. It was only later on where he kind of got this idea of, oh, holy shit, people like this. His reality was set based upon what he thought the world was. And to be fair, it's the argument that Democrats make all the time. Well, the world is to the left, it's to the right, so we need to be somewhat right. Well, that wasn't true. That wasn't true. His reality changed the moment he realized that the public was interested in what he was putting out. So, that's my perspective on it. The truth from my perspective. I do understand your passion, Jamal, and do give him credit for making people think and starting a movement. Thank you, truth from my perspective. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. You're not calling me an asshole and saying that I'm touching myself to Bernie Sanders. So you're being nice. Demo Corporate. Mr. X. Isn't this a late live stream? Yeah, it is. It is. I saw the clip about Bernie Sanders and I was like, oh, I got to tell this. I must tell the world. It's like ripping my shirt off, bare-chested, in the sun, screaming, Bernie Sanders. Yeah, had to tell. Had to tell. That's where I'm at. 18 people are up at 2 in the morning. I know, it's sad, right? Bernie said, oh, Mr. X. Bernie is delusional. The DNC is going to screw him again in 2020. I don't think so. I don't know. Like, can you do it twice? So I've been thinking about this. You have a situation where the overwhelming majority of the public, I think it was like 70-something%, believe that Democrats rigged their primaries against one of their candidates. Meaning the entire country understands that your party is corrupt and you rigged the process. That same candidate runs again. Can you really do that twice in good conscience? That just seems... I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Yeah, maybe they could be that shallow and do that. Or yes, that may be true. Hell, they could even try to gut Sanders in the election itself to get him to lose to Donald Trump so they can say, hey, see, the guy that you put up lost. All sorts of stuff. Yes, agreed. Agreed. Fair enough. That's fair. That's fair. The truth from my perspective. Oh, I love you to bits. Thank you, truth from my perspective. I like having these convos. Like when I say I'm usually not in the position of defending anybody. Usually I'm in the position of going after somebody. So it's a different faculty in the sense of being a shield. Like when you're, in most cases, just the radical of the situation because you're further to the left than most people, then it's easier to be somewhat of the cynic because, you know, I don't like any of this shit. I think all of this is going to hell in a handbasket and so I'm pissed and that type of thing. Fuck off. Slightly different when you have a dog in the hunt. And you're defending the dog that you have in the hunt. And understand, the defense is not from a biased perspective. The defense is just from a human perspective. If it was anybody, I think I would try to give anybody the benefit of the doubt to some degree. But again, he's on my spectrum. So yeah, I'll see him in a way where it's, Yes, I give him the benefit of the doubt because I think as a human being, how many people would behave a particular way? I think most people would have behaved the exact same way, given the pressures that those people were under. If this isn't a... Yeah, I would do this for anybody, I think. I could be wrong, but I think I would give anybody that benefit of the doubt. I try to make this humanist argument from the standpoint of, as a human being, how do human beings behave when they're put in certain situations? He's in a political situation where he's affiliated with a party, and he's usually independent, but he's running in that particular party, and he doesn't want to be considered Ralph Nader. Not to mention, he didn't think he had any chance of winning. My biggest thing was always the cheating, that he didn't call out the cheating. Robert Pouquet Ray, only one over here. I'm so happy right now. Meow. Meow. Cito67. If they do screw him again, he has the perfect reason to jump ship and run a third party without being viewed as a spoiler. A lot of people will understand it. Agreed, man. I agree. I agree. There's this other thing too, with people saying he should have ran as a third party in the last election. If Hillary Clinton would have lost that election with Bernie Sanders running as a third party, and she would most likely have lost that election with Bernie Sanders running as a third party because they would have split the vote, they would have said it was Bernie Sanders' fault. It wouldn't have been Hillary Clinton lost on her own merits, neoliberalism lost on its own merits, Democratic Party failed on its own merits, Democratic Party lost the reality. It wouldn't be any of that. It would be Bernie Sanders caused Hillary Clinton to lose. And that is a fundamentally different position than where you are right now. It is a fundamentally different position than where you are. So, from a strategic position, it's this thing of one person, if they ran against Donald Trump right now, would lose again, Hillary Clinton, and Bernie Sanders, who has the best popularity of any politician in the United States. So, there's a big difference, man. There's a big difference. Alright, this one wasn't going to be long. This was just kind of this announcement of Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders 2020. Bernie Sanders 2020. I put an open invitation to Debbie, if she would like to come onto the channel and make her feelings, express her feelings about Bernie Sanders running in 2020. If she's going to be the champion of the downtrodden, or not the champion of the downtrodden, the champion of the dissenters, the champion of the dissenters, the anti-Sanders coalition. Let's call them that, the anti-Sanders the anti-Sanders coalition. I would allow the space for her to be their champion. The space would be allowed for her to be their champion. I have heard her say a lot of stuff about Sanders. Some of it I agree with. Some of it not so much. Yeah. Open forum. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I would imagine I like the conversation because I think it's the conversation that a lot of lefties are having. People are pissed off, man. And in being pissed off, they take certain positions and dispositions. I think it's decent to have arguments, particularly among people who actually like each other. Like, it's Debbie can dissent with me all she wants. I still think Debbie is fucking awesome. So, I like to have those conversations. It's not really even a debate. It's a conversation at that point. But yeah, I throw the gauntlet down. Now, again, Debbie has like 35,000 more subscribers than me, and it's probably going to take a little bit to like get enough heft where it could be like I would feel comfortable with asking her on the show in that way. But at this point, I'm more so thinking from the standpoint of who's the anti-Sanders coalition, who's the leader of the anti-Sanders coalition. I can't think of anybody else. I can't think of anybody else. Yeah. Reddit for Bernie. Richard Wolfe. I just played the thing with Richard Wolfe. He said that he's running in 2020. Yeah. In fact, let's see. Bernie Sanders makes more move for 2020 run. Bernie Sanders could be running again in 2020. Well, I was taking Richard Wolfe at his word. I don't think Richard Wolfe would just make something up like that. I could be wrong, but I don't think Richard Wolfe would make something up like that. Mr. X. Oh, Debbie the same progressive. Yeah. Debbie. I just assumed Debbie. I figured my audience everybody knows her. Yeah, and I'm not picking on Debbie on this. I invited Zach Haller. That was another one I invited on to be. It was like, are you the champion of the anti-Sanders coalition? It's like I slap of the face, sir, with my gauntlet, and make your feelings known. It's not that I'm spoiling for a debate. I like this conversation. It's one way to have a conversation in order to kind of bring lefties into the circle on this. Because ultimately, I think that's the conversation we're having. When I'm doing my show, that's often a conversation that I end up having. When you have Sargon or Arcade-based Mama, Sixel Hammer, or Prince of Queens on your show, unlike saying their anti-Sanders position seems to rely mostly on misinformation. I don't want anybody on my show who's having misinformation. It's like, why do I want misguided people on my show? It's like this guy is spewing nonsense. No, I want... Look, I don't like... I like this thing of... Yeah, I don't want people spewing nonsense on my show. I'm trying to find somebody who has a certain amount of integrity who's anti-Sanders. You know, whether you agree or disagree with Debbie's shows, ultimately, woman has integrity for spades. At least that's her position. That's her fundamental political position. And I agree with her on it. And to some degree, her argument against Sanders is based on this thing of, well, there's a fundamental basis of integrity and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want people spewing nonsense, man. Yeah. Hey, Brom, uphill all the way. Yeah, it would not be easy. It would be uphill. It would be uphill. I am fascinated to see what takes place. You've heard me make this argument that 2018 and 2020, more so 2020, will be a war. Because that's ultimately for the soul of the party, in a sense. The Democrats could hold back the well, in a sense, in 2016. But in 2020, will you be able to do that? And there's another effect to this. Bernie Sanders being in that office, Bernie Sanders pushing for certain legislation, makes it very clear who they are. If they don't support him, and you have Congress, it makes it very clear on who they are. And I would imagine that you're going to have groups spring up to go after these particular Democrats based solely on this idea of these guys are not in your best interest, these guys are not supporting Bernie Sanders' agenda, etc., etc., etc. In Britain, they have these groups, momentum, springing up, trying to get these people to sign contracts saying you will follow Jeremy Corbyn's agenda. And here's the 5 points of the agenda that you must promise in order to get our support. I fucking love that. Love it. Represent the people who you're supposed to represent. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to make those things plain and explicit. Not this flowery, I'm putting hope on the ballot. No, they want explicit things. Yeah, man. Yeah, I like this. I like this. I like this. If you had it, I've had a Bernie 2020 sticker on my car for the last year. Fucking A. I would have that sticker on my car if it wasn't for me changing cars. And I think somebody else stole one of the stickers on my other truck. I was like, motherfucker. Who's out there dicking around stealing stickers off of cars? Jerry Springer. What? Robert Pouquet Ray. Would net unneutrality, I like that, affect Bernie? Bernie had the grassroots media against him. Net neutrality doesn't go into effect for several more months, and you're going to have lawsuits that are pushing back on net neutrality. I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't know. If he makes it through the primaries, maybe not, because you have these lefty, these organizations who think Republicans are gross and disgusting, so they may support him just because he's in the Democratic Party at that point. I don't know. It's hard to predict how this stuff is going to pan out. They're already shadow banning certain elements, even from just the Google, Facebook, Twitter part. So who knows what the ISP providers are going to do if they think that something is going to adversely affect their interests. I don't know. It's a good question. I have a DimX's sticker on my car. I got to get one of those. I got to get one of those. I got to get one. People should be wearing the t-shirts and everything. They should have those stickers on the car. It should be very clear that all of these people have left the party, that when any random Democrat gets up and they say, oh, holy shit, all of these people are leaving the party. I wish I could raise $1 billion so I can buy 1 billion stickers and send them out to, well, okay, maybe not 1 billion, but enough for each and every person in this country that wants a Dim Exit sticker. Put that shit on their car so they can have a visual representation of the level of failure that they've pushed on this nation. I want them to see in a visual way the number of people who are leaving. I want it to be explicit. I want it to be very clear. Clear as a bell, where there is no ambiguity about it at all. All of these cars with the dim exit sticker. Oh my God. Can't believe we failed this much. But again, you have a Unity Reform Commission for a reason, right? Yeah. Bob Ramirez said, yes, sir. May I have another, sir? People love to be kicked in the kidneys. Uh-oh. 9. Dude, I'm not reading that. I don't know what that is. But a bunch of numbers. Will you ever debate Hard Bastard? Debate Hard Bastard on what? What are we debating on? Oh, he's against Sanders? He's against Sanders? Oh, I didn't know he was against Sanders. That's funny. I didn't know he was against Sanders. Good prompt. Democracy Now! Said more calls came from Congress than over the tax bill. So many back net neutrality. Yeah, they got millions of calls, millions of people, and those people still said, you guys can go fuck yourselves. We're unaccountable to you. We're getting rid of this. That's amazing. Think about that. 83% of the American public said, don't touch it. And they said, fuck all. You're not going to do anything about it. We're getting rid of it. There's something immensely problematic with your government when it's that unaccountable and it doesn't care about the whims of the public at all in this way. It's amazing. He'll get your hopes up and fold again. I don't know, Bob. I'm skeptical, Bob. I'm skeptical. And I think, what I think is, Bob, I know you're cynical. I know you've been hurt by this. And I think you're a sensitive guy. I think your snarkiness and your cynicism is to hide this tender, sensitive guy that's deep down under the cover of all that cynicism. There's a good heart in you, Bob. What I think is that at 3 in the morning, on the day of your voting, you're going to say, yes, I'm voting for Sanders. I'm not going to tell anybody, but I'm going to vote for Sanders. And you're going to put on a cheesy mustache with the, you know, the Shirley, the Chasey Chapman thing. Not Chasey Chapman. What is that guy's name? Groucho Marx thing. And you're going to have a large coat on. Trench coat with your collars up. Because you don't want anybody to recognize you. And you're going to vote Bernie Sanders. You're going to vote Bernie Sanders. That's my prediction. That's what I think. That's what I think. Dim exit stickers are great ideas. I think dim exit stickers are awesome ideas. Brom SO1, Bob seems like a jilted lover to me. Yeah, he's a little bitter. He's a little bitter. Yes, he is a little bitter. Fair enough, man. I don't begrudge a guy for being bitter. Fair enough. Fair enough. If Bernie doesn't win the primary, then it's fuck you, vote again for third party. To most young. I would put it this way. I would agree with Bob on this one. And it would hurt me to my heart. It would hurt me to the head. If Bernie Sanders gets cheated again, he loses primary, and he turns around and supports the person who cheated him again. Oh, man. God, that would hurt. I don't even want to think about that. I don't even want to think about that. That hurts me to even think about that. Hurts. It brutalizes my heart to think about that. But yes. Unless it's Tulsi Gabbard, Nina Turner, or Bernie Sanders, everybody else can go fuck themselves. I would be voting for Jill Stein again. Jill Stein runs. By the way, Green Party, you need somebody other than Jill Stein. It's not nothing wrong with her policy positions or anything else, but she doesn't pop. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, she has many disadvantages with her. Many of those are, you know, being in the Green Party and everything else within a two-party system that tries to disenfranchise that party. But you need to do something to mind the gap. Like, you have to bridge the gap. It's not enough to say that these guys are cheating you. Of course they're going to cheat you. That's the capitalistic way. The party is set up to maximize their profits. They game the system in a way because it makes sense for them to game the system. But you got to get around it. You got to get around it. Susie Potatoes. What's happening, Susie Potatoes? I'm sorry. I think Jill is fucking amazing. Bro, I'm also one. I didn't say anything was wrong with Jill. I'm not saying she's not fucking amazing. I just say she doesn't pop. There's a difference in those things. Lefties have this bad idea. And it's not a bad... No, it's a bad idea. Fuck it. It's not. It doesn't conform to reality. Lefties have this bad idea that you relaying information to somebody. Me giving you information is the way that I'm going to change your mind. That's not how reality works at all. People don't change their mind based purely on information. You have a lot of people who are stirred up by emotional stuff and all. It doesn't work that way. Jill Stein has an awesome fucking plan. When she gets up there and she gives her speech, what she's saying is technically precise and she's on point, and I voted for her because I wanted her to win. But come on. Certainly it's more, politics is more than just giving it very precise and detailed information about what you yourself want to accomplish and what you yourself want to do. And certainly integrity has nothing to do with the process at all. So I'm just making this point that I want her to win. I want the Green Party to be successful. We need another party in this country. I love what the Green Party stands for in regards to their platform and all. But that's not the issue. There's nothing to do with platform. It's like I've had this conversation with Joe Firestone. Was making this point that politics and reality don't necessarily converge in many respects. And you have a lot of people in this country who are perfectly okay with being sheep for another class. They don't even like to talk about class. It's you got to mind the gap, man. You have to figure out some way to get across. And I don't necessarily know what that way is. It's nothing with her. I'm not talking about a personal defect. I'm just saying the way the system is set up. Crozet Owls or Alan Grayson. Alan Grayson Alan Grayson is decent. I love Jill. Jamal might be onto something. Yes, I love Jill too, but yes, I am onto something. I'm not saying this out of a hateful, spiteful way. I'm saying this just out of an honest appraisal of how this stuff seems to flow out. There are more independents in this country than both parties combined. Why can't Jill, you know what I mean? I'm trying to make this point that you have all of these people who extracted themselves out of the political process. But when they extracted themselves, they still didn't go to the Greens. The Greens had almost a similar, if not same, platform as Bernie Sanders. They still could not get those people. Some of this is systemic, so don't misunderstand me. This esoteric other, I've made this point before. There's this other that sits on the shoulder of people when they go vote. I will vote for Jill Stein if I thought other people will vote for Jill Stein. So Jill Stein may get 20 or 30% of the vote, but those people are like, yeah, I'm not voting for Jill Stein because I don't think other people would do it. This mythical other is just out there in the ether. This person's perception of what society will be. The problem is that all these other people, instead of voting for the person that they want, they're voting in a way where they're this kind of defensive, fear-based voting. Vote for who you want. Vote for who you think is going to represent your interests. I mean, once you get Democrats and Republicans, they game the system in a way where even though those people consider themselves independents, ultimately when they get out there, they want their vote to count. And in their head, other people are not going to vote for this person, so I'm not going to vote for this person, in which case that person doesn't get any votes. The mythical other. Bob Ramirez said, reminds me of Stand By Me, where the older kids say, kids lose everything. I wish I was your dad so I could beat your ass for saying that. Oh, Bob. Bob, who's your champion? Who's your anti-Bernie champion, Bob? Give me your anti-Bernie champion. I want that guy. Concerned citizen. I think Jill's great. She can run as often as she likes. Regardless of good Democrat, doesn't need to worry about third party. If she's dangerous enough for them, then that's their deficiency. Agreed. Agreed. You're in a representative government. Those people have a right to run just as much as a Democrat, just as much as a Republican. None of those parties have claim to the bus, meaning the political apparatus itself. None of them. None of them. The Democratic Party can go bust tomorrow. Another party will spring up to take their place. None of those parties have a right to the apparatus. If they win, then they get the right to essentially manipulate it in that way. But they don't have any God-given right to it. Jill Stein has the right to run just as much as any Democrat, just as much as any Republican. And if you can't make the argument to get people onto your side and those people go to the Green Party, that's on you. That's on you. It's not their responsibility to vote for you. I don't understand where Democrats get this idea that people are supposed to vote for them in this almost perfunctory way. And they're including Green Party voters into their voters as if Green Party members are the same thing as Democrats. For that matter, you might as well include Republican voters. If these Republicans would have voted for us, we could have won. We could have won if the Republicans had voted for us. Hillary Clinton likes to tout this thing of, I had 3 million more votes. All those votes came out of California. The rest of the nation said no. The rest of the nation said no. Yeah, man. Yeah. Nobody's responsibility to vote for that person. That candidate gets your vote or that candidate doesn't. That's on the candidate. 2-Bit Rasputin. Bernie can kneel over in a second. Why doesn't the form Tulsi Bernie ticket now call it a day? That way, if Bernie doesn't make it, Tulsi will have the momentum. It can pick another VP. That's not a bad idea, Rasputin. That's not a bad idea. But I don't know what you said Bernie can keel over. He's a vigorous man. No, I don't agree with this. Bernie Sanders is a vigorous, vital man. He is a sex object to many. And he can bench press 1,000 pounds. Bernie Sanders is Captain America. He is perfectly okay. He's okay. He'll make it. But I like the Tulsi Gabbard ticket, though. I do like it. I definitely like it. I like Tulsi a lot. We have to get rid of the 15 or 10% rule for the third party to debate stage. Agreed. Mr. X, agreed. That's a bullshit thing. That's some arbitrary number to keep people out from the voting thing. Yeah, agreed. Tomosi Young, I won't be shamed into voting for a corporate Democrat. Fuckface. That's right, Tomosi Young. Bob Ramirez, I'd go with Debbie, but the Vegas false flag BS gives me pause. Yeah, so I disagree with Debbie on that one. The Vegas false flag thing. It's like I don't... Look, you can take a position and you can say, for instance, I can say whether Russia hacked us or not, I don't want to be on a war footing with Russia. I don't give a shit what the results of the thing are. I don't necessarily want the consequence. I don't want to be on war footing. I don't have to say or make something up in order to do it. I'm not saying she's doing this, by the way. I'm just making a point. If there's a false flag or if there's something that takes place in the country, there's a shooting deaths and everything else, I am against the proliferation of guns as is. I see the gun thing as being just a natural consequence of us having guns, being washed in guns, and having a culture in a society that worships military and weapons and all this other stuff. I see the thing as an inevitable consequence of our policies. So whether or not it was a false flag or otherwise, my perspective of the situation doesn't really change. And I don't necessarily have the thing of saying it's a false flag. I guess what I'm saying is I disagree with her on it. But you're not going to agree with everybody on everything. So I don't, here's what it is. Is what it is. But I would say you probably would agree with her immensely on her take on Sanders. So, yeah. Terry Robinson, the truth is most vote against rather than for something. Yes, Terry, that's true. That's a problem. It's official. Well, according to Richard Wolfe, Trudy, according to Richard Wolfe, I'm scared they might try to take him out. He'll have a negative effect on the market. We almost need the crash to come before he gets into office and he can pick up the pieces. You know what's wild about that? Obama had such a magnificent opportunity, man. Like, the public wanted him to punch every one of those bankers in the face. That's what the public wanted. Put it on national television, put it on C-SPAN, and Obama just goes down the line punching one banker in the face, and the public would have been screaming at the camera, yes! Yes! Hit him again! Hit him again! That's not what took place. He coddled them. Oh, we're trying to help you out. I'm standing between you and the pitchforks. The public didn't want you to stand between them and the pitchforks. That was your opportunity. What would Bernie Sanders have done in that moment compared to what Obama did in that moment? Yeah. Mind you, Bernie Sanders is talking about not nationalizing, but breaking up the banks right off the bat on day one. Break up the banks. Break up the banks. What do you need to break up the banks? Break up the banks. They're too big. So yeah, there's a big difference. Fuzzheadeth. Jamal, you're awesome. I stopped watching secular talk since you've been mainly regular videos. Good progressive stance without the fluff BS. Aw, thanks, Fuzzhead. I appreciate it. I try. Trudy, oh yay, please let it be true. That's why I'm there too, Trudy. I'm there too. I'm trying to fend off attacks from Bob. I'm there too. I don't want my static thing to come out too much. The bankers knew they were already bought Obama off. Yeah, that's true. They ain't getting Bernie. I think they'll be scared. I think they'll be terrified. Bernie Sanders, during the debate, again, I need to find this video where he says, Jamie Dimon said, "I'm dangerous." He says, "Damn right, I'm dangerous." And there's moments in your life where somebody says something and there's a euphoria that takes over you, where you're screaming at the camera. It's like, yes, that's what I want to hear. Yes, yes. Stop being stupid and fetch it. If you're going to be the governmental apparatus, goddamn it, be the governmental apparatus. When Teddy Roosevelt kind of got into that Congress, or got into the presidency, and called, I can't think of the plutocrat, called him to account. And the plutocrat was shocked as shit. And he was making his point to him, government rules, not you. Not you. This is not your apparatus. This is not here for you to buy and to contort to your whims. This is for the American public. And you will be subordinate to this, like everybody else is subordinate to this power. Yeah, Sanders. I like the idea that he's antagonistic to Wall Street. I like the idea that he's antagonistic to plutocrats. I love that idea. You're the 99%. You believe that the 99% has been fucked over royally over the course of this country's history. And you're calling yourself a socialist. You're in the belly of a capitalist beast. And you're close to power, a hair's breadth away from power. What do you do when you take the apparatus? And this is kind of my point. Do you believe that he will be fundamentally different than the ones that came before him? He's a true believer. He's a true believer. His backing on this is essentially you, your $27 donations. Look, that will be a great day. That's all I'm saying. This is a great day. This is a great day. Yeah. Reminiscent of FDR, I welcome their hatred. It gives you chills. Yes. Yes. I heard that speech, and yes, that speech gives you chills. It's standing with immoral authority, man. There's something in me that gets up for this thing of this kind of moral authority. It's like, but politicized moral authority. Like this thing of a true believer in a particular position of power saying, this is what I believe in, this is what I hold to be true, and I believe human beings are more important than all of this other shit that's not real. I've kind of said how stupid it sounds when you say there are real things and there are unreal things. But it's not stupid from the standpoint that we ourselves are governed by unreal things, things that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And to have somebody in that office, or at the very least trying to get into that office, that would fundamentally change what it means to be a Democrat and fundamentally change what it means to be the left in this country. I just hope he has the balls where he goes through with this process of breaking the fingers, instantiating his gains, and instantiating his changes, so those things can't necessarily be rolled back. At least not rolled back as easily as the incremental tepid changes of Obama tweaking around the edges. So yeah, I'm excited about this. I'm not gonna lie. Sophist, awesome news. I think so. Here's the thing. Richard Wolfe said that, and I think Richard Wolfe said it was breaking news. I don't know why Richard Wolfe would lie, so I am taking Richard Wolfe as a decent source. If this turns out to be untrue, I would come back and say, God damn it, fucking Richard Wolfe. But for right now, I'm taking Richard Wolfe as being honest. So I don't think he's lying, by the way. I don't see why he would lie about it. No, he's not running as ND. No to most of y'all. Bernie Sanders is running as a Democrat. Well, Bilderberg put Obama and Hillary Clinton in line and made Obama a puppet. Boom. One day he was a human. Next day he was a zombie. Papanea Shelley. Bernie should take Bitcoin contributions this time. Talk about revolutionary. I don't know how I feel about the Bitcoin thing. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the Bitcoin thing. I don't like this idea of financial policy being out of the hands of state. Oh, this is fucking weird to me. Mr. X. Obama has so much more momentum in 2008. He could have done so much more in his first term, but he became a corporatist Democrat. Obama was always a corporatist Democrat. If you listen to his rhetoric, the things that he's saying, it's just soaring rhetoric. He's just using very large and expansive words. You're not really getting any real information. Part of the headwind that Hillary Clinton hit this time was because people had gotten used to Obama not really giving any real information in the things he was saying. Hillary Clinton comes out with something and they compare her immediately to Obama, and they're like, well, he was full of shit. She's saying stuff and she sounds even more robotic. They didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. Thing is, these decisions are talked about behind the scenes before they made big public announcements. Classroom cooperative. Bob Ramirez. I won't be taunting Jamal after tonight. He's a lost cause, so I'll just grit my teeth. No, Bob. No, I don't want you to just grit your teeth. I don't want you to just grit your teeth. I am a lost cause until something makes me not a lost cause. So fair enough. Fair enough. I like the dissent. I like the dissent. You dissent well. But yeah, I'm excited about this. I think, you know, Bob can say what he wants, but I think Bob will be at the polling thing, swallowing his dignity a little bit and pulling the lever for Bernie Sanders. That's my prediction. That's my prediction. But Bob, you have to come back and tell us if you voted for Bernie Sanders. You had to make that solemn promise. I need that solemn promise. Come on the light side, Bob. Trudy. Come on the light side. Rob Illinois. I wonder if H.A. Goodman is mentally stable. Look at the channel. It's Hillary, Hillary, Hillary. He's kicked from Ace Ventura. Pet Detective Seems out. Hillary indictment imminent. No, he's not crazy. He believes something. And he believes something that I also agree with. I just don't necessarily, you know, he just went a different way. He believes Democrats are the problem. It's an earnest belief. He believes they're the problem. And I think he's right that they're the problem. I think he's right. The way he's internalized this, or the way he's dealt with this, is to have his channel go against the Hillary Clinton thing. He's not crazy for it. He's not even wrong for it. I mean, they cheated a fucking candidate in an election. Essentially, Donald Trump is in an office because of the things that the Democratic Party did while they were gaming the system and rigging the system and lying persistently about it, while they were continuously cheating one of the candidates. It's fucking amazing. It's fucking amazing. And then when they're caught red-handed on WikiLeaks, they lie about it. Then when Donna Brazile comes out and says it's rigged, they lie. We're moving forward. We just need to move forward. We just need to move forward. That's all. Just move forward. There were rats in this house, but yeah, let's move forward. Let's get to the next tenant. Let's get to the next tenant. Yeah. That annoys me to no end. That annoys me to no end. That's all. It annoys me to no end. Let's see. I'm curious about what Bob thinks Bernie isn't candidate people want. Every poll says otherwise. Oh, Ditzy Lily. I'm curious why Bob thinks Bernie isn't the candidate that people want when every poll says otherwise. No, I don't think it's that he doesn't want it. I think Bob's thing is he folded. I think what it boils down to is he folded. He was in a situation before where he was running against Hillary Clinton. The public had turned and wanted Bernie Sanders, and ultimately he folded. That's what I think this comes down to. And not just folded, turned around and supported the person who cheated him. That's just, you know, it's undignified. Political pressure. Uh-oh, Gardone. Stumble home from the bar, watch Jamal worship Sanders. In bold, big letters. That's awesome, Gardone. That's awesome. Trudy, he's pandering to his audience. Shelley. But in the hands of the people, give it time. We'll see the freedom of cryptocurrency. But if nothing wrong, oh well, I've been wrong before. Vegematic. I was watching Tom Hartman today and he said it wasn't true. Really? I have to check. Again, I don't think Richard Wolfe will lie. I would check to make sure though. And look, up to this point, Sanders has been making moves left and right in order to do it, be it foreign policy speeches and all, you know. It seems like he's making moves for it, including having his people in the Unity Commission trying to open primaries. I would imagine he's trying to open those things for himself. So he's trying. It's true Bernie folded, but he's still our best bet. Trudy, I agree. Bob Ramirez, I don't question what Sanders says. I just want results. Bob agreed. Yeah, I agree, Bob. I understand. That's fair. That's fair. Mr. X, what disturbs me about Bernie, he's going along with the Russian propaganda. Yeah, I don't like that either. I attributed that to him functioning with the Democrats thinking Trump was a larger threat. I don't like that shit either. I don't like it either. That's gross to me. I mean, ultimately, these guys are screaming Russia because they don't want to deal with their failures. I hate that. I don't want them backing them up on this garbage. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Open up your wallets, my friend. Your hero Bernie is running again. DNC functionary. Oh, Cardinal. Log type 47. Please do your homework on Bernie's record. I've seen Bernie's record. Brom SL1. Hartman is generally more often wrong than he's right. He is not. Hartman is a fucking bright guy. I like Hartman. Crozet Owls. Tom Hartman sold his soul to the Democratic Party. Now, that part's true. No good source of info on that. He did sell his soul to the Democratic Party on that. That being said, though, Hartman did have a relationship with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders used to do a show with Hartman for God knows how long. Hartman was dancing this line between Hillary and Bernie in the primaries. I don't want to attack either one. I don't want to attack either one. It's like, pick a fucking pony. The guy was on your show, for God's sake. Looks like you would choose that particular pony. It's like, what are you? Just this kind of function of the Hillary Clinton campaign? It's like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Pick a pony. To most young, so Bernie's a Democratic functionary after all. He is not. He's not. He's not. The Amendment King. Thank you, Trudy. With exclamation point behind it. The Amendment King. Fucking A. Fucking A. Lunch with Bernie, I think it was called. Yeah, that's it, Brom. That's it. Bernie did a weekly show with Tom Hartman for years. Jeremy Chase. Thank you. Exactly. Exactly. A side note. H.A. is a Zionist by his own definition. Yeah, he is. That's what it sounded like to me. A left-wing Zionist, such as those Sanders supports in Israel. Can't remember the name of the party. Yeah, I mean, bringing up Jesus. And it's like, well, we're not having a religious argument. It's like, why do you think you have any connection to that land at all? It's like we lived there 2,000 years ago. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China right now? Moved a bunch of people to a particular country and then start murdering those people and putting those people in pens. It's like, let's be honest about what it is. He should have fell on his sword according to some. Bernie lived to fight another day, and he's spreading his message and teaching the populace. Yes. Distillily, yes. Particularly on this issue of class. Now, we have cynics on this page. We have cynics. We have purists. We have purists. But he's having this conversation with the public about class, and this public has never heard that conversation. Most of those people who are alive today has never heard these type of conversations that Bernie Sanders is having. Say what you will, but he is. There's so many more people, millions of people woke up for once in their life. They broke the trance. Bernie Sanders. And that guy's running again in 2020. And all of you cynics, each and every one of you are going to go to the polls and pull that lever for Bernie Sanders. That's what I think. That's my prediction. That's my prediction, sir. Yes, he's demonstrating the difference between the owned and the not owned. The bought and the unbought. Fucking A, Trudy. I love that. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Guard Gnome. I straight up asked him after the interview he agreed with my estimate. Yeah. We're floating on a pale blue dot suspended on a sunbeam. I love it. I love it. The purist also pissed himself during the cab ride. This purist also pissed himself. Are you shitting me? You are that wasted. Oh, God. Oh, the indignity. The indignity. Almost pissed himself during the cab ride. I'm sorry. Almost. That's funny. Mr. X, most likely I would vote for Bernie, but damn sure not donating if he runs as a Democrat. If he runs as an independent, I will make a contribution. Fair enough. Fair enough. I suspect you will also cross that red line too. I suspect you will cross that red line. Jeremy Chase, I watched all of these progressive channels blow up when Bernie was running. Yeah, they came out the fucking window. Tronics Refuge. Why do people assume they are making Bernie follow along the Russia narrative? Who said he doesn't truly believe it and thinks himself a good American citizen, for it a patriot? God, I hope not. Because what are you using for the Russian narrative? And understand the situation Bernie Sanders is in. The indignity of saying that Russia hacked us, releasing information that showed the Democratic Party cheated me, Bernie Sanders. It's an insane situation to be in. It's just insane. It's absolutely ridiculous. But that's the situation which he's in. You're not being a patriot if you're positioning yourself against another nation, another nuclear powered nation, and you ask the question of what are they positioning themselves for? What's the evidence? if this country was allied into a war where it murdered 1 million people in Iraq, were those also being good citizens when they were saying, you know, just supporting the flag and doing whatever Bush said in regards, or believing anything that was in the newspaper and believing what Bush was saying? They weren't being good Americans. They attacked another country, killed 1 million people, including 4,000 Americans. We've been in those countries for the past 16 years. Or 15 years, I should say. In the same way they didn't have evidence then. Vietnam, same thing, Gulf of Tonkin. What I'm getting at is this country has lied itself into wars on multiple occasions. The Spanish-American War, another one. We've been lied into wars. Don't you want a little bit more evidence than taking the word of the FBI or the CIA on this? These hand-picked agents who were the media, for the most part, ignored any competing evidence, and they just believed that these guys were talking about the word of God. You don't want a little bit more. It's just enough for people to say Russia did it, Russia did it, Russia did it, and because they said enough that you just kind of believe that these guys are saying. No, these guys want to obfuscate from the failures of the Democratic Party. It's possible that Bernie Sanders believe it, but it's also possible Bernie Sanders is towing the line with Democrats to use it as a way to attack Donald Trump. Integrity is not part of this process. It doesn't count. The crowd would have given up the revolution before it started. Jeremy Chase, Tom Hartman was raising the Democratic flag. Yes, Tom Hartman was. Yes, he was. I showed that video where Tom Hartman attacked somebody who wanted to go third party. Futurama comic book boy. Okay, I'm here because I want to what he's giving us after we take the bait. What? Okay, I'm here maybe because I want to know what he's giving us after we take the bait. What he's giving us? I don't know what you mean. Trudy, there are separate Russian narratives. One, they hacked the DNC. Two, Trump collusion. Yeah, but they're trying to say that the collusion was in order for him to hack the DNC. But none of this makes sense. The data that was transferred, that data was transferred too fast for Russia to be hacked. It's impossible that that stuff is a hack at that point. Most likely the information was downloaded. That doesn't matter. The news doesn't play that part. The news has screamed bloody murder about Trump and Russia for the past year, and have nothing to show for it. They have squat to show for it. It doesn't stop them from making a narrative, and in no way will the media go back and impeach itself of saying, sorry, we lied for a year. Do you honestly believe that the media would say that? They've been jumping the gun on one story after another, and this jumping the gun is always only gone in one direction. We found it! We found the smoke. Oh, we didn't find the smoking gun. Sorry, that was fake news. That was fake news. Jamal, next book, Butt Hurt Top Secret Bernie Sanders emails. That's hurtful, Bob. That's hurtful. Garno. No, it's people like us who enacted the revolution, people who said no to the standard political options. Yeah, I mean, that's where we are, bitter enders. I've said that many times. My brother worked for Hillary's campaign and complained a number of times about the horrible bandwidth with the main servers. A hack needs a lot of bandwidth. Yeah, I mean, the people who did the analysis on that stuff looked at it and said, well, wait a minute, the speeds are too fast. The speeds correlate more so to somebody putting in a USB, I mean, a drive, flash card, as opposed to this idea that it was hacked. They can look at the speeds on themselves and see how fast the download took. Well, at the point where you're talking about somebody hacking a system and transporting the information across a wire, those things take a certain amount of time. Think of yourself downloading a file from a server. The speeds were too fast. The speeds were too fast. The media didn't give a shit about that. The media didn't care about that. The media had its story and the media went with it. The media went with it. Alice Motter, yeah, I'm back on. It was Richard Wolfe came out saying Bernie Sanders was running in 2020. And I was spreading my euphoria. Thumb drive, that's it. To Mosi Young, yes. No, the Trump collusion is about Trump making deals with Russia for profit. I know, but they're trying to say that Trump worked with them in order to hack the DNC. Like, I guess what I'm saying is, their biggest argument initially was Trump worked with Russia to hack the DNC. That Trump was looking for information about Hillary Clinton or something to that effect. Russia hacked the DNC. Gave that information to WikiLeaks, publish that information in order to damage Hillary Clinton. They're trying to say Trump worked with her on it. The ridiculousness of this, though, is odd and stupid on another point. Why would Vladimir Putin need to work with Trump in order to do that? Like, why would it need to be explicit? If Vladimir Putin said, I wanted to help Trump get elected, why would he contact Donald Trump on this at all? You would think that he would just do it. You would think he would just do it. I'm putting this information out about Hillary Clinton. I'm trying to damage Hillary Clinton. No collusion needed to take place at all. Even if they could establish that Putin did it, it doesn't mean that there was collusion in the process. Like, this story falls apart on so many different levels. The problem with the Trump collusion narrative is that Hillary colluded for profit as well. Yeah. Oh, Bob Ramirez, the Sanders campaign will need a theme song. I suggest Muskrat Love. Do you know I got married to that song? I fucking love that song. The America. My wife. There's a beauty to that song. So, I was trying to get across this thing to my wife, this kind of the epicness of people in interaction, and pure and honest interaction, where you have two people who actually want to be together, not because of, you know, they're pushed together or anything else. Two people who just are in love with one another, and this courting ritual, this human courting ritual that we go through from a societal standpoint. And Muskrat Love gets across this pure elegance of romance better than most songs. My wife's issue with it was that they used the term muskrat. But I was trying to get across there that if you take out Muskrat, it is epic. Epic. He's a Muskrat, Susie, and Muskrat, what he said, Jim, do the jitterbug on the Muskrat land in a shimmy. And he's talking about the scene of these two beings being in love with one another. One particular person says, I acknowledge and I love you for what you are. Now, yes, it's a muskrat. But take out the muskrat for the moment. Take out the muskrat. They're talking about a courting ritual. Muskrat Susie, Muskrat Jam, the jitterbug over Muskrat land and a shimmy. But there's one part. He says, Sally said to Susie, honey, would you please be my missus? And she said yes with her kisses. Personally, I think that's epic. But I find epicness in small things at times. I love that fucking song. That song was on the list of songs that we played it out with. That's how much I love that song. So now, take those apples. I like them apples. Fucking amazing song. Muskrat Susie and Muskrat did a jitterbug. Yeah. Sally said to Susie, honey, would you please be my missus? And she said yes with her kisses. Yeah, man, I love that song. Love it. I'm talking about Muskrat Love, and you guys are in a deep political conversation. Fucking Bob. Emily Defarge exposed New York City meth labs. I believe Bernie is running when I hear it from him. He's a healthy, vigorous man. Why should he run? Why shouldn't he run? That's right. He's certainly healthier than Hillary. Agreed. Agreed. Absolutely agree. Garnome. And again, I hate to tell you all, your vote doesn't matter either way. Between the machines and the political apparatus, voting is largely symbolic now. It's important symbolism, but still symbolism. Well, I'm voting on that mythical sheen for Bernie fucking Sanders. That's what I know. That's what I know. The Russian collusion was a narrative used to cover up the corruption inside the previous administration, including Hillary. It's a coup d'etat attempt by the establishment. Yeah, they pulled Mueller out of whole cloth. They really pulled him out of whole cloth. Fuck evidence. We'll just have an investigation and hopefully evidence turns up. It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. Muskrat Bernie and Muskrat Sam. What? Muskrat Bernie. Oh, Muskrat Jane running 2020 to give us more of the same. Oh. I don't know who Muskrat Jane is. Jamal, I love this was going to be short. Love your interacting and discussions with your audience. I know, right? This was supposed to be like 10 minutes. Justice Democrats. That's Justice Democrats distillery. He didn't get close. He didn't make it past the primary. What do you mean he didn't get close? He got to the primary. He running against the most well-oiled corporate machine in politics. And Bernie Sanders won like what, almost half of the states. I mean, come on. Be fair. Not to mention, you have to cheat the guy in order to beat the guy. Hillary Clinton had full control of that apparatus, and Bernie Sanders still got nearly half of the states. So be fair. Come on. Isn't it thrilling? Bernie is still shilling. Not anti-Sanders, more like pro-integrity. No, it's anti-Sanders. It's anti-Sanders. It's anti-Sanders. You're trying to change your perception of things. Both of those things can be true. I'm saying anti-Sanders because I'm choosing that particular one I'm using that particular one. But both of those things can be true, by the way. You can have multiple perspectives on a particular thing. People argue over different perspectives, and both of those perspectives can be of the exact same thing, and both of those things can be describing a particular reality of a person. Yeah, both those things are true. It was 47%, thank you, of the vote that Bernie got. If I remember that correctly, Devon Mead. Thank you, Devon. Biden will get it if Bernie doesn't run. Yes. And the article in The Hill kind of made this point that Bernie Sanders doesn't want Biden to get it. He believes it's his to get. So, yeah. People pretending that Bernie winning half the votes means nothing. He even managed with all the Hillary cheating. Army, yes. They're trying to paint a hellscape of a world. They're trying to bolster their point. This is called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias. Besides, Garnome was drunk, so he doesn't know. He was out of it. Holding his Hillary picture. He's just mad because Hillary lost to Donald Trump. That's all. That's what's going on with that. That's his hatred. Kirk DK55. I'm glad I live in a backwards country where we still vote on paper ballots, not hackable machines. Yeah, Kurt. Yeah. Rub it in. Bob Romero says Sanders running cuts Indies off at the knees. Now, Bob, that is true. That is true, Bob. That's true. I agree. That I agree with. But the goal is to win. Was an independent going to win in the first place? Probably not. Does Bernie Sanders have a chance of winning, however? Yes, he does. And would he implement radical policies, at least radical by these standards? I think he would try. Garno, the cheating, etc. is confirmation bias. No. That's not confirmation bias. The cheating is real. I'm saying this thing that Bernie Sanders, acting as Bernie Sanders, didn't accomplish anything. Like he was nowhere near winning and all this other stuff. The guy woke up a nation. The guy was able to get nearly 47%, despite all the cheating, despite all the rigging and everything else. Nobody even knew who the guy was. So this idea that, oh, Bernie Sanders didn't accomplish anything. I'm saying that's all. Yeah. No. Now, if you honestly believe that, then yeah, I think that's somewhat of a confirmation bias. You're looking for reasons to tear the guy down. So yes. I almost vomited on my Hillary pick while making out with, oh, dude. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Jeremy Chase, that's a good point. What the Gardner almost threw up. Only the cheating can be broken by a better known candidate. Yeah, Alice, I agree with that. It helps. It does help. Bob, I didn't vote for Hillary, so. Oh, geez, we're over an hour. Yeah, this was supposed to be like 10 minutes. Fucking around with the audience. Guys, it's what, 3 in the morning? Yes, 3 in the morning. Fucking around with the audience. Yeah, guys, if Richard Wolfe is right, Bernie Sanders is running again in 2020. And Bernie Sanders has been making moves like he was going to run in 2020, so I don't necessarily have any reason to believe that Richard Wolfe is lying about this. If I find out that Richard Wolfe is lying about this, I will come back on and I would bash Richard Wolfe rightly. I would rightly bash Richard Wolfe. I like the guy, so they would hurt me while I do it, but I would do it. How dare you, sir, say that Bernie Sanders was running. How dare you get our hopes up putting out fake news in this way. But as far as I know, and look, like I said, he's been making moves like he was going to run, and Richard Wolfe coming out making this point, saying that he was breaking news. I'm going to take Richard Wolfe at his word until I know otherwise. Bernie Sanders will be running for the presidency in 2020. And I will make a prediction 12/16/2017 that Bernie Sanders is going to be your next president of the United States. And by the way, same thing, Jeremy Corbyn in Britain. Jeremy Corbyn will be the next prime minister of Britain. What anybody got to say about it? Let me write it down. Bernie Sanders. This paper is going to be promptly lost if something takes place between now and then. No, man. If he gets a fair run in the primaries, Bernie Sanders will win. If Bernie Sanders is running against Donald Trump, he will trounce Donald Trump. And when he gets in that office, the latitude that Donald Trump has given in this way, he's stretched the position so much that he's going to give a certain amount of latitude for Bernie Sanders to spread his wings in that position. If anything happens before then, meaning a financial crash or something like that, Bernie Sanders will use that financial crash to do amazing fucking things. So I'm not hoping for a crash. But if one takes place, please take place just before the election. But I'm not hoping for a crash. So, see, I don't know enough about the Canadian Prime Minister, Fuzzhead. Yeah, I don't know enough about the Canadian Prime Minister. I follow British politics. Australian, every so often, Australian politics is funny to me because they're British, but not. Like, I know they would say we're not British, but from an outside perspective, when you're looking at them, they're Brits, but less politically correct. I loved Australia when I went to Australia. They're less politically correct. I watched one of their question times where the Prime Minister was talking and the opposition leader had turned his chair in the opposite direction to get across that I am not listening to you. I think you're full of shit. It was an amazing thing to see. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that he's doing that, but that's exactly what he was doing. Canadian politics, I saw the one where Trudeau, what did he do? Did he knock somebody down or something, or hit a woman, and people started screaming, like, oh my God, he just knocked that woman out the way. Yeah, I haven't followed as much. Probably should. I can speak the language, so yeah, I can speak the language. Yeah, that's true. Log type 47. Bernie Sanders stated during the debates that he was sick and tired of hearing about Hillary Clinton's damn emails. Yeah, that's true. Hiding that Clinton Foundation for pay play. Yeah, he gave her a cover. Fuss said, thanks, Jamal. Yes, Aussie got some crazy shit. Canadians got some similar shit. Yeah, the Aussie thing was funny, man. Yeah, the Aussie thing was slightly funny to me. Slightly funny. I was like, I couldn't believe he did that. Jagarno, Justin Trudeau is another fake leftist or faux leftist. He has presided over vast environmental destruction while supporting Canadians' strange SJW policies. So I heard about the oil thing with Trudeau. Like, he was putting down pipelines and you know, they were giving him this credit like, oh my God, he's young, he sparkles, he's handsome, he's Trudeau, he's kind of like Obama. And it's like, oh, he's kind of like Obama. He's kind of like Obama. Yeah. Uh-oh. Bernie Sanders stated that he would not end Obama's illegal drone program if elected president. Log type. Oh, God. Don't go there, log type. Don't go there, log type. No, fuck it. Fuck it. Let's go there. Let's go there. Let's have that conversation. Bernie Sanders stands firmly in solidarity with the apartheid state of Israel. All right. So let's do the drone one first. In fact, I'm more uncomfortable with the drone one because I think you're probably right. So fair enough. I don't know enough about Bernie Sanders' position on the drone thing. So let me be fair. Somebody else kind of made this point, though, that all of these lefties' hearts will break the moment that Bernie Sanders does his first drone strike. So yes, that's also true. I don't expect the guy to be a dove. That said, I've never heard any other candidate talk about the Palestinians in Israel. None. When Bernie Sanders was on that debate stage and he made that tenor of, we need to make sure the Palestinians in Israel are intact, etc., jobs and education and a better standard of living, that type of stuff. That's the argument that he's making. I've never heard that from any politician, taking Hillary Clinton to task on her blanket support of Israel, and not doing it in a cheesy bullshit way, but doing it from a way of believing it. Be fair. Be fair. I mean, what do you expect them to be? Ultimately, the guy is saying, my policy on Israel is further to the left in spades of any other candidate that's in Washington, that's in politics. That's fucking amazing. Now, you may say that, yes, he's a supporter of Israel. I don't necessarily want to see Israel destroyed. So what are you going to call me, a supporter of Israel in a sense? I think what they're doing is fucking disgusting. They have an open-air ghetto. So I understand the situation that presents itself. But I don't like this thing of people being killed or murdered or injured or harmed or anything else. Now, if Bernie Sanders is coming in, Bernie Sanders is saying, I want to support and bolster the Palestinians in that region of the world, and he seems like he means it. He seems like he's being earnest about it. That is far in spades behind anybody else that's in politics. This is not incrementalism. I guess this is my point. This is not the Hillary Clinton position where everything that you look at is just these incremental steps. These things are radical departures from what it means to just be a Democrat. But yeah, I would defend his record on some of this stuff. Yeah, I would defend his record on some of this stuff. Sanders supports Zionist. I don't know if you need an S on that, Gardner. Jacqueline Thompson. Bernie voted in favor of $1 billion aid package for the coup d'etat of Ukraine and supported Israel's assault on Gaza. Crozet Owls. Are they going to give Justin Trudeau a Nobel Prize? Even the French neo-lib was chastising him about being a crappy fake on the environment. Who got a peace? Jeremy Corbyn and Noam Chomsky got a peace prize. They got a peace prize. I don't think it was a Nobel Peace Prize. They got a peace prize recently. Yeah. All right. We're almost in an hour, and so we're beyond an hour at this point. I'm going to end it. Look, guys, I like the conversation about Sanders because I think it's a conversation that needs to be had since Sanders apparently is running in 2020. I don't have expectations of him being a perfect person. There are going to be things that I agree with him on. There are going to be things I disagree with him on. That's with anybody. That's with anybody. So there are going to be things that you guys mentioned that just from a standpoint is like, yes, that's true. I agree with you on that. But I'm stuck in this position of what moves the ball down the field and what fundamentally changes, or what is, if there's a chance to fundamentally change what it means to be the left in this country. I would be insane not to take that chance. I'm insane not to take it. Whether I think it's cheating, whether I think it's symbolic, whether I think it's BS, whatever. You function at a way, not because you think that necessarily what you're going to do is going to completely change things, but you move the ball down the field. That's all anybody ever really does. There's no such thing as radical transformation without this kind of mass upheaval and balance and everything else. So, yes, I defend Sanders in the sense of, in comparison to what's out there now, and in comparison to what's the alternative. You guys have no champion. You have no champion. And I don't think Karl Marx is right in a sense. I don't think people are just going to rise up gloriously emancipated and run to their post office with their pitchforks. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I think people are aroused to emotion. And I think ultimately this thing of the way Sanders tries to wake people up, I want that conversation of class to take place in 2020. And I want that conversation of class to take place between now, entirety through 2020. So yeah. There's certain things of Sanders that I like and that I get behind. There are going to be other things not so much. That's with anybody. Can you think of anybody where you have a perfect record of I agree with everything this person says or does? I would say that answer is no. And if the answer is yes, then there's something terrifying about your personality. So I will leave it at that. Jamal is awesome and it's cool to see y'all keeping him honest. Yeah, man, my audience would disagree with me in a heartbeat. They don't mind disagreeing. That's that's the funny part, man. It's people say you build your audience with each thing that you say and each word that you write and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I realized early on listening to people like James Baldwin have these conversations about the moral integrity of an artist, or the moral imperative of an artist, and how your audience is to some degree a reflection of you, if that makes sense. Like the way that your audience is, you're not going to have an audience that's going to be vastly different from you in this way. That's not going to take place. You may have people who may wander in and be like, oh, this is interesting, and they may stay, but they're only staying because their aspect of them is similar to you. They may be completely unaware of it. When I was younger, I just used to listen to rap and R&B mostly because that was, you grew up in, you cultured in. And when I went to college, I started listening to groups like Jamiroquai and so forth. And I used to love going to Tower Records and just listening to their music section. And I remember one day I'm listening to this band and I'm like, oh my God, this guy is screaming at the top of his lungs and I fucking love it. And I thought to myself, this can't be real. This is real. This is real. And as he's going from song to song, I'm like, oh my God, I love this band. Now, I had no idea I love this. Band is Thursday. It was band Thursday. Fucking love Thursday. I love rock. In fact, I love all sorts of music. I love all sorts of music with the exception of country. But in this case, I'm listening to just like, oh my God, this is fucking amazing. This guy is screaming at the top of his lungs. He's screaming bloody murder. And I am sitting here rocking out over this. Sometimes you don't know what you like until that particular thing, you're exposed to it. So there may be people who wander in and find themselves, holy shit, I'm a lefty. I didn't know I was a lefty. That type of stuff. Fair enough. But there is something to be said when your audience is okay with saying, no, I think this is bullshit. Or I completely disagree with you on this. And I think you guys have seen myself when I do these things. Sometimes I have second thoughts in the midst of me doing those things in this way. So yeah, I'm okay with it. I like being able to have the conversation about it, if that makes sense. So yeah, if you're having a conversation about it, people are going to disagree with you in a conversation at times. It would be weird if everybody was just kind of this cult member of an agreement. So it's what it is, man. I like my audience. I like my audience. It's not a massive audience, but it's an active, and I like my audience. I appreciate you guys. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. We'll leave it off on a good note, on a sappy, sweet note. Bernie Sanders 2020. Sappy, sweet Bernie Sanders 2020. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoy the content, and thank you for being here. Holy shit, it is 3 in the morning. You people should be in bed. Yeah, you should be in bed. Truth. Jamal worships country boy bands. Country boy bands. Thursday is not a country boy band. I don't like boy bands at all, thinking about it. It's like, yeah, dude, you've been talking to my wife too much. She's trying to tell you dirty, lying lies. She's telling lies about me. She's telling lies about me. I'm going to go in the other room and wake her up. So what have you been telling Cardinal? What have you been telling Cardinal? All right, guys. You guys have a good night and enjoy your Saturday. Have a good one.